So Big Brother is tracking Donald Trump supporters because they're anti-government, and the border crisis is finally getting the attention it deserves, except from a man who can't do anything about it. This is The Brink. And folks, remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you like me and you like what we do here. And remember, folks, you can always be a Daily Caller Patriot. There's a link in the description below. There are so many great exclusive benefits to being a Patriot, so you don't want to miss out on this. Trust me. So classified data obtained by Newsweek shows that the FBI is tracking anti-government citizens who also happen to be Trump supporters. This is all according to Newsweek's report. Now, the FBI claims to be stopping domestic terrorism, but what they really mean is that they don't like that half a country is now awake to their bullshit and ever-encroaching ways, so they want to make sure they can keep an eye on people who threaten their little cushy political regime. You know, our founders wanted Americans to have a healthy amount of skepticism and distrust toward the government, and now those that do are being labeled terrorist. And notice how terrorist is the go-to phrase for these weaponized so-called justice systems in the United States. Anything that questions the government equates to terrorism. How convenient is that? And you know, it reminds me of a quote from Sam Adams in 1772. He wrote that, quote, "Colonists have been branded with odious names of traitors and rebels only for complaining of their grievances." You know, swap out colonists for Americans and rebels for terrorists, and it fits the bill. And this isn't the first time we're seeing this, right? Think back to 2021, what the Department of Homeland Security did when they were really starting to, lose their grip on the American public when it came to the ridiculous COVID restrictions and lockdowns. They said that individuals who are opposed to COVID-19 regulations, well, they could be possible domestic terrorists. Then, fast forward months later, they told us that if you spread so-called misinformation that, quote, sow discord or undermine public trust in U.S. government institutions, well, you could be a possible domestic terrorist. And guys, I just want everybody to understand the magnitude of this for a second. If you question the government with, so-called conspiracies, which, mind you, they've mostly turned out to be true, they were trying to pin you as possible domestic terrorist. They want to divide this country between the sheep who blindly follow whatever the government says and those who call bullshit when they see it. The government is not our friend here. They never have been, they never will be. And I bring Thomas Paine up once again. I feel like I say this every episode, but government is but a necessary evil, okay? And looking at the Big Apple, so New York City Mayor Eric Adams, he's headed to Mexico, Ecuador, and Colombia. Have a look.
We are pulling off now to head to Mexico to speak with our leaders there and to really start the process of understanding the flow of migrants here to New York City and throughout the entire country. This is the type of conversation we believe we need to look at both local, national, and international to come with a resolution.
So according to Adams, even though the crisis didn't start in America, he's going to step up and lead solutions at the local, and international level. And I won't lie, he had me in the first half. You want to fix the problem at a local level? Have at it. That's what New Yorkers have been waiting for. But Adams, he can't do jack shit internationally except mold the narrative to his Democratic base that he's better than border czar Kamala Harris, and he's just trying to convince New Yorkers that he's still a Democrat because, he has been rather outspoken about the migrant crisis. He doesn't want in the city. He wants kind of a hardline approach to it, and I think that he is worried about risking re-election amongst, the uber-liberal base that he relies on. So this is a way to kind of center himself again. We're going to go over there and help them. Second point, the savior complex of the United States and our politicians has gotten us to exactly where we were. We have shouldered the burden of taking care or, trying to take care of everyone everywhere. The problems plaguing Mexico and these other nations are problems that frankly are just not our problem. They're not our priority and they shouldn't be. Our priority should be securing the border, not addressing the root causes of immigration. Then what? We're going to appropriate millions in funds to explore why migrants come? I don't care why they're coming. I care when they're leaving. And it's kind of funny because the city has literally said that they are willing to pull resources from programs that New Yorkers pay into to help fellow New Yorkers so that they could take care of the migrants. And here's Eric Adams, presumably on taxpayer dime, going down to these countries where at most, at best, he will be able to do the following. And then he returns home and nothing changes. And they keep telling us that these migrants are asylum seekers, that the reason we have to cut fences in the border wall is because we have to let asylum seekers in, right? There are only 5 legal reasons to seek asylum. First and foremost, you have to do it at a port of entry. And then you have to present what is known as a credible fears claim. Now, there are only, again, 5 credible fears claims. You have to prove that you fear persecution in your native country for any one of the following reasons, okay? Race, religion, nationality, membership in a particular social group, or political opinion. 5. And notice what's missing from that list. Not a single mention of economic stability. And yet so many migrants that even I have spoken to, ones that I've worked with when I worked in restaurants, they all tell me the same thing. They came here for work. They came here so they can financially support their family who's back home. And look, it's admirable. It's heartwarming. These are, men who walk hundreds of miles because they want to support their family. But that's not enough to justify the invasion at the southern border. And speaking of the migrant crisis, the Biden administration wants to build the wall. Right. So this was President Biden back in 2020. Have a listen.
Trump campaigned on build that wall. Are you willing to tear that wall down?
There will not be another foot of wall constructed on my administration.
Now, fast forward 4 years, and the Department of Homeland Security announced that they would work around environmental laws so that they could speed up construction on the border wall. And this is all being done in Texas, where there is a high volume of illegal immigration. Now, former President Donald Trump, he had built more than 400 miles of border wall, but when Biden took office, he scrapped the policy. He said that building a massive wall is, quote, not a serious policy solution. And it's so nice that this is, all coming around the bend of an election, right? Create the perception to voters that the Biden administration, after 3 years, is finally handling, or rather doing everything they can to handle the crisis. And liberal Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Krasner, he said this about the people who looted the city recently.
We'll look carefully to see whether this is a one-off situation and they're fundamentally law-abiding people, hold them accountable one way, or whether they are criminals and they're all about taking advantage of some sort of unrest for their own benefit, and they will be prosecuted another way.
Newsflash, brain surgeon, fundamentally law-abiding citizens do not do this. You don't fundamentally support the law and then willingly engage in this type of behavior.
Everybody must eat! Everybody must eat! Everybody must eat! Everybody must eat!
Now, Krasner explained that some of the looters, they were young, right, between 18 and 25, and they either have no criminal record or a minimal criminal record, and he promised to bring, quote, individual justice. And this is where the problem lies. Everyone starts somewhere. If you nip it in the bud, you set the record straight with these young thugs. If you don't nip it in the bud and you say, oh, well, he's never done anything else wrong, we'll let him go, you set the tone. But if Krasner's approach will be soft on those who haven't done anything in the past, expect to see repeat offenders, okay? This is the type of mentality that has led Philadelphia and so many other blue-led cities to where they are now. So much is just wrong with America at a local, at a state, and at a federal level. And what do you expect? We're a country on the brink. Folks, we'll see you Monday.